Hey guys, it's me, Poppy Rain here, coming to you with a new video. This video is going to be something very different from anything I've ever done before. I don't usually do these types of videos because political, politics, world issues, life issues, drama issues. I don't try and do any of that on this channel. I don't do religious. I don't do none of that. Like, yeah, I may state my religious views, but that's about it. Like, we're not here to do all that. We're here to get your brain off of the real world and all the drama of the real world. But I'm sorry. Ooh. This is a topic I need to talk about. If you guys aren't following it, we're going to be talking about the whole Josh Duggar situation. In case you guys don't know, I know, Daddy just gave me a dirty look because Daddy's so sick of hearing about the Josh Duggar thing. Because I watch Kate Joy from Without a Crystal Ball, which is controversial. She's controversial, but she's giving me all the updates, so I don't have to read 500 articles to get my info. And she literally posts 2 to 3 videos a day, every day, and Daddy's getting tired of hearing about it every single night. But I have an hour-and-a-half video to watch after this, so this is going to be without knowing any of that information. So in case you don't know who the Duggars are, the Duggars were on a show. It started off as, I believe when they started, it was 16 kids and counting. They're a family from Arkansas. Then it went to 17 kids and count. I can't remember if it was 16 kids and counting or 17 kids and counting when the show originally started. Then it went up to 17. Then it went up to whatever the next number was. And then it was 18 kids and counting. Then when the show went off the air, it was 19 kids and counting. In case you can't guess, they have 19 kids. They would have had 21 kids if they hadn't had 2 miscarriages. They had a miscarriage after the oldest boy, who is Josh Duggar, who we're talking about. And they had a miscarriage right before their youngest. So this is a family that is basically, basically an occult. It's called the Institute of Basic Life Principles. I'm not going to really get into all the details of that. You can go Google that and learn all about that. Or if you want to watch Without a Crystal Ball, watch Kate Joy on Without a Crystal Ball. She explains all about that and whatever. It's basically like a cult. So basically, what's going on is Josh Duggar, when he was a child, in 2005, it came out that when Josh Duggar was a child, he molested 4 of his sisters. I thought it was only 2, but apparently it was 4. 4 sisters. And, you know, they said they sent him away. They didn't call the cops or anything. It was a whole thing. Because technically, I think they were still within the statute of limitations. I can't remember. So they sent him away to get reformed. Right? And right after that happened, right after that came out, it also came out that he had a porn addiction. Right? Because he was on Ashley Madison. If you don't know what Ashley Madison is, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. But it's like a paid, I guess it's basically like a paid porn site. I don't know too much about Ashley Madison, because not my deal, but he was also paying women to sleep with him, too. He molested, 4 of his sisters and a babysitter, I guess, which I don't know either. But anyways, so he got sent away to a reform camp to pray out everything, blah, 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 whatever. Everything was all kosher and good, right? Well, in 2019, he was under investigation.
Okay, here's the only issue. We're gonna pick this up.
And when was it?
Silver Ray, really?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my timeline straight. It was, what, like a week or 2 ago? He ended up getting arrested on that investigation, which was for child porn. He had over 200 videos and mostly photos, but videos and photos that he was downloading.
Back there, I wonder. Haven't been to the armory yet.
And this whole case is just wild and just blows my mind. And people were, and what really bothers me was people were shocked by it. Like, he molested his sisters. What do you expect? Now, he recently, what day was that? Wednesday. Had a trial to see if he was going out for bail. Because he hasn't even gone to court or anything yet for his thing. Because he literally just got arrested. I think it was like, not like, well, the week that we're still in. Not like the Wednesday that just passed, but I think like the Wednesday before that, or the Wednesday before that, something like that. It was like, yeah. So it was fairly recently. And he got released on bail. Which I don't understand, because he apparently had the worst cases of child porn ever, the worst like, types. So how he got released on bail, I'm still confused. The judge said because he's not a flight risk and he's never had any criminal run-ins with the law before. Not a speeding ticket, not a parking ticket, nothing. Because, again, the molestation cases were never reported to police.
That's all 3 daughters now. Yo, when she first came in the room, I thought
so his conditions for bail were he had to live with a third-party custodian, which was this family that barely knew him from his parents' church, who has a 22-year-old daughter that lives with them. He couldn't be in a house where any minors were present or were visiting, so she had to stop doing her piano lessons, the 22-year-old daughter that she was doing. There couldn't be any firearms, so they had to get rid of all their firearms, because they had a lot of firearms, I guess. No access to the internet.
Yeah, that room is just very loud.
The internet had to be password protected. No access to the internet or phone.
It's still not been searched all the way. Examined. So you can't use it?
He had to wear an ankle monitor,
Oh, you can put it back.
because he was basically under house arrest. He could only go to church, which I think is ridiculous. But we'll get into that. Church and anything to do with court, or to check in with parole. Anything else had to be had to be approved with parole. So if he had any doctor's appointments or anything like that.
Well, obviously you haven't, but
And also, he had to be monitored 24/7, which,
I don't know.
how do you monitor someone when they're sleeping?
Oh, here we go. You know what?
Because you're usually sleeping too.
The only issue is
So that I don't get. And also,
wait, how did we get
he has 6 kids and 1 on the way.
we have to put
He's still allowed to see his wife
okay.
and the 6 kids
We can replace it with
whenever he wants. They have to come to him,
So imagine if you could do that though.
I believe, from my understanding.
We gotta put it back.
And
Time thing maybe.
his wife has to be present when he visits the kids.
Oh, never mind.
And the third-party custodian has to be present.
We just take like
So either the husband or the wife. I don't know if both of them have to be present. But the wife doesn't even feel comfortable being alone with him.
wait, let's examine that.
Because she's not really allowed to be alone with men.
Take it off, yep. Take the wood piece off. There you go. That
So,
helps to kind of trick the system.
I just have so many issues with this story.
Okay. Done.
In general, it pisses me off.
Should be.
I don't know exactly what the new one is.
All the daughters do that.
But supposedly, his wife was going to finally leave him.
You gotta be kidding me.
His wife, Anna. Which has been squashed. Because she's brainwashed from the IBLP. The Institute of Basic Life Principles. And she thinks that he only got arrested because of his parents and the Biden administration. Now, as I stated before, he was president, or as I stated before, the investigation started in 2019.
Not about to do that yet. I wanted to save my game first in case something crazy happened.
Who was president in 2019? It wasn't Biden. It was Trump. She's all sorts of nuts. Because he literally is like so crazy. He has her convinced that some shady ex-convict that used to work for them at the car lot that he owned, because that's where everything was happening, was the one doing it. When it was mostly his brothers that were working at the car lot. And he won't tell anybody the name of this shady ex-con. Like, why in God's green earth would you defend someone who is trying to get you arrested for a minimum? Okay, these charges, he's got 2 counts of child porn. The first one is a minimum of 5 years, and the other one, I believe they said is a minimum of 20 years. But, like, maximum he could be in jail for up to 40 years. And possibly owe the government $500,000. So why, on God's green earth, if this person was really supposedly framing him, why would you protect him? That's what I'm not understanding. Okay, so I have a lot of issues, too, with the whole Josh being let out on bail thing. One, if he's got the worst kind of child porn possible, why would you let him out on bail? Why wouldn't you keep him locked up? And I don't get the whole, he can't be around children, but he can be around his own children, as long as he's supervised. How do you know that he's not going to do something to them? Or what if or to his wife, or to the wife of the custodian, or to the wife of the family that he's living with, or the daughter of the family he's living with, just because just because they're not minors? Or how do you know that he hasn't already done something to his children? Because he did molest his sisters when they were underage, and the family just brushed it off as, oh, he was just a little too over-curious. He was a teenage boy that was a little too over-curious. Because they didn't get the sex talk as a kid. It was basically like, sex is for making babies and for marriage. End of the story. Like, you know, they didn't talk about that stuff. They didn't talk about reproduction. They didn't talk about any of that. Like, they didn't have access to the internet or anything like that. I mean, they had access to computers for schoolwork because they did homeschooling online, but it's like, what little access they did have, you know, didn't give them any, they had no information growing up as a kid. Okay, that pisses me off. Then the fact that his wife is saying that the Biden administration, really? The Biden administration? And this poses a problem too, is she's blaming his family, his mom and dad, and cut ties with them. So that leads me to the next problem. Now you just made your whole family homeless. Think about your damn kids. You literally just made your whole family homeless. Because they're living in, I don't know, some kind of like guest house or something on the family's property because they sold their house. Which is not clear as to why, but could have something to do with this investigation.
I'm like excited right now. There we go.
So now you cut ties with them, so they're not going to let you live on their property. So, where are you and your 6 kids going? You're pregnant and have 6 kids, and you're a single mother now. Like, I'm so dead. Like, and when the whole thing happened, when the whole thing with his sisters happened, she should have left in the first place. When the whole thing came out. And I think she only had, like, 4 kids at the time. It would have been a lot easier to be a single parent to 4, I think it was like 4 or 5 at the time, than it is going to be a single parent to 7 kids. I can't even imagine being a single parent of 7 kids. Like, the heck?
Not good. Not good.
Like, why is that a thing? Like, she is so dumb. Like, I don't know why she didn't leave in the first place, and why she's like, oh, I'm just going to stay married to him. And I don't believe that he actually did anything. I cannot with this. And this whole thing, it just blows my mind and is so irritating. I just don't even know anymore.
I'm gonna heal up.
I feel like Josh is just a complete moron at this point.
Screen's kind of red anyways. Oh, God.
He's trying to plead guilty, even though they have enough evidence to prove that it was him. But, like, they can't 110% prove it. But it's like, when the porn was being downloaded from the car lot, within minutes later of the stuff being viewed, he was taking photos of his desk at the place, doing other things on the same computer. Like, I don't know. And this whole thing just blows my mind and pisses me off. If you guys have anything at all to say about this whole Duggar situation, and this whole Josh situation, please feel free to comment down below. I'd love to have a discussion about this. This pisses me off. Daddy's sick as hell about hearing about it. And it just blows my mind and pisses me off. And this whole thing is just so irritating. And as I learn new information, guys, if you guys want, I will give some more reaction videos to this whole situation. They said this could take up to 6 months to get resolved, because obviously COVID is still around. I mean, a lot of states are fully open. I live in a state that is not fully open. Like, New York City is still miles behind the rest of the state. We're one of the few states that still requires masks. Even though now places are starting to get a little more lax about it. Like, I think one of the only places that's, like, really strict about it is Daddy's work. I mean, and, like, Walmart and Target still are pretty strict. But, like, Dollar Trees aren't strict about it. We went to Can Man today, which is a redemption center. They're not super strict about it. Well, there was workers in there not wearing masks. There was customers in there not wearing masks. So just a toss-up. Like, I work at a daycare. And I don't know about our one center, but the center that sometimes I go and work at and the center that I currently work at, they're not, like, super strict about it. I really didn't wait time. Anybody says anything is either when there's been a case in the center or when parents are there, so that parents don't say anything. You know, type of thing. So, yeah. So, I don't really know. It's just super irritating and super frustrating. This has been a really rambly, ranty video, but I'm gonna go and catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.